This conference will now be recorded.
2023.
Yeah.
Want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I hope you got to either the tree lighting or the parade, because both of them were awesome. And with that, invocation, Brian Peterson, is he here? Yep. Stand for the invocation. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for all our many blessings. We thank you for living in such a wonderful town that you've provided for us. We ask you to give this council wisdom as we go through our business, not only tonight, but throughout the coming couple of years. With all the wonderful things that go on in this town, we just thank you so much. And so, in your Son's holy name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any motions related to the agenda?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to make a motion that we delete the agenda item 7C, the decision paper, fire department station dedication sign, to be postponed for a later date.
I second that.
The reason we're doing this is we have a pumper that needs some work, and we don't know what it's going to cost, and we're going to have to lease a replacement. It just doesn't make sense to spend money on a sign at this point when our biggest need is getting that pumper back to health and back in service. So we're leasing a pumper. I don't know exactly when that starts, but it's just a change. We will come back to this. It's going to happen. It's not if it's going to happen, it's just when. So that's why we're moving this off tonight's agenda. It'll come up again as soon as we know more. But we felt like this was not a good time to spend money on a sign. And anything else? Okay.
Shouldn't we vote on it?
Yes.
All right. It was a motion.
The motion was to remove 7C from the agenda.
Correct.
And I second it.
And Mr. Stamey seconded.
So we need a vote now.
Correct. Ms. Fallon?
Yes.
Mr. Kinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Cracklow?
Yes.
Mr. Stamey?
Yes.
Mr. Walls?
Yes.
All right. Next thing on the agenda is the minutes approval from our meeting. Was it 28th of November?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes of the November 28th, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Sherry?
Ms. Fallon?
Yes.
Mr. Kinkin?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Cracklow?
Yes.
Mr. Stamey?
Yes.
Mr. Walls?
Yes.
All right. The next item on the list is public comments associated with the agenda items. It's a 5-minute limit, so please step up, give us your name and address and any comments you want to make on the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to communications. Peer update, Zane Peterson Collins is here.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, Zane.
We can start with, first, so today we had the weekly meeting, meeting minutes number 153. Gary, I'm not sure, was that able?
Not to them.
Okay, all right. Apologies for that. That was sent around 12. The meeting ended at 11, so it was kind of too short for that. Performed a site visit today with the town CBO. It was not for anything in particular, just to kind of get an actual track update so we can confirm work's been saved and it's being completed. We did look specifically at the pier rails. An item had come up for that as far as the amount of screws that we had specified, confirming that all of those were installed as they were supposed to be. We confirmed they were after some corrective measures were made. Other than that, we'll start. Did anyone have any specific questions as far as items we discussed last week? Or 2 weeks ago, sorry, that you would like an update on or anything of that matter? Any specific questions?
Mayor
Mayor
Pro
Pro
Tem.
Tem.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just have a quick question. Have the steps been dealt with?
So the steps were looked at today while we were up there. The only note that I had specifically was some puddling at the first landing from the ground. The concrete landing at the bottom has been removed. It's in the middle of being refunctioned. That had to be removed for the stairs, for the railings to be corrected. As far as corrective work, as of this morning, Consensus had stated they had completed the corrective work. They were going to provide what information was left in an Excel sheet to the town CBO, so that when he comes out there, he's not just randomly measuring throughout. He's going to be able to go to each point and verify. Other than that, I think an incident was stated about the slipperiness of those stairs. We can definitely bring that up with them. I know the protective top coat that was put on them, that wasn't specified anywhere. That was kind of an ad. The town didn't pay for that. That was just an ad that was observed, and it was put on there so that it looked uniform with the rest of the pier that had to be self-leveled. The goal of that was to be an additional friction factor to help. So now that I guess we kind of have an incident where that hasn't helped, we can definitely take a look at that to reassure the town of everyone's safety. So as far as everything goes with the stair rise and run, that is supposed to be inspected, I believe, Tuesday. Tuesday, I believe 2:00. So at least on Tuesday, and we can provide an email to Jerry following that, and he can provide an email to y'all to give an actual update for that, if that's been approved or it's denied again and more corrective work has to be performed.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
Zane, back to the question about the stairs.
Yep.
Was it ever provided that they should have been rough texture to them steps, or?
So the concrete itself specifies a certain finish that we use, I believe, for the stairs. It was a trowel finish, but it was meant to be more smooth. The reason as to why that coating was put on the stairs as well, really at the end of the day, was because where the podium had to be self-leveled and everything, that when that top coating goes on for that self-leveler, it looks about like patched drywall. And so it in essence is a rubberized paint that is used to cover those ugly spots. As far as it being applied on the stairs, no, there's no formal direction that was given for that to be applied. We didn't really ask for it. It was just continued down the stairs and had.
Do we not need to do that?
So that has been done. As far as if it is effective, that's what we'll look at this week, is what we'll look at now that we know that there's an incident, if that is actually being as effective as it was supposed to be. If it's getting wet and it's even more slipperier, then yeah, we have a problem.
So everyone knows, we had a police officer that went up on the pier Sunday, I believe, to check on somebody trespassing. And on the way down, he got close to the bottom and he slipped and fell. Not hurt, or so he says, but it's just something we need to look at now before we have somebody my age falling down those steps. So, yeah, we need to address this however we can.
Second part of my question is gonna be, how's the rails going? Are they on time, getting out,
No,
getting
so
finished, getting back?
The rails as of this morning are behind schedule. When I went out there today, there were 2 sections, left to be sent to the coder. They are going up as they're being delivered, as they have been, but as of right now, they are a week behind schedule, correct?
You know, my next question.
Yeah, I do.
Are they gonna make it?
So I told them to get me a schedule no later than Monday. I made it aware to them that in observation of the last schedule they provided on Monday, they were behind schedule. They told me they were working to be on schedule, but that isn't a factual statement, so that doesn't really matter too much. As of right now, they're a week behind schedule. So as of right now, the finalization date would be January 1st through the 4th. Now, the discussion that I brought up with them last week was that, and I'm not sure what the town's policy is on vacation as far as during the holidays. So they have final inspections scheduled for the week of the 25th. Obviously, that wouldn't really work out if the town's taking leave and everything, or Collins or LS3P or anyone is. So no, if I had to make a statement right now, it would be no, they're not gonna be done on December, the week of the 25th.
Thank you.
So as far as the rest of the items, the schedule that I'd say that will be, no later than next week. We'll provide that to y'all. Once we get it, I'll make sure Jerry gets it and he provides that to y'all. As far as the update today, the corrective work for the floor slabs in building B and C are being wrapped up. I took a look in there today to look at the work that had been done, some grinding, some self-leveling. And then from there, building A will start work. So that item itself as well, although it's not identified in the critical path, it is 100% a critical path item because it will not be approved until that's fixed. And that's pretty much ensuring that the town gets a floor slab that is efficient for flooring material. So that one, that building A should be started this week. See, the main other point that I spoke with Melanie about and everything was looking back. We made a pretty big adjustment here. Retainage was withheld from all the change orders moving forward. So with that, that pretty much means as of right now, the town has paid all they're going to pay for the pier. There should not be another payment coming out until they are finalized with the work. The pier railing specifically today, an item had come up with the CBO about did the railing post have the correct amount of anchors connected into the concrete post? That was what we verified today that they did. So we're good to go on that. ADA ramp, monumental stair railing. That one's in progress, currently a week behind schedule. Mechanical screen trellises for all the buildings, which would be the section up at the top if you look at the roofs to hide your HVAC systems. Those installations are complete. Specifically, building A was the one that was kind of taking the longest time. Crack repair, I looked at that pretty extensively today. They had a mock-up today done for one of the cracks on the third transition of the ramp. So that one was currently curing. From there, I just checked off on it, made sure that it was applied the way that it was supposed to be. So those will continue throughout the rest of the pier. If you go up there right now along the ramp, they have all those cracks marked. So they more or less just needed to test one, make sure that we're good to go. And then from there, those will be dealt with. That was for what we talked about last time, the transverse cracks and everything. Let's see what else. The building A pressure test, that item is still meant to be rescheduled. SNME will perform that test again. Pretty much what that was, as we discussed 2 weeks ago, that was taking a high pressure hose and spraying around the windows and any openings to make sure that they're sealed correctly so that rain doesn't come in and the town gets a call from one of the tenants that they have water in their building. So that item is still a pretty big item that needs to be dealt with. It just needs to be re-inspected. The corrective work's already been performed, just has to be retested. Building A floor slabs, we just talked about that one. That work's about to start. The change order 23 that was listed last week, that was just for the change out to an audible device, I believe, from the fire marshal. It was strictly flashing at first. We changed it to an audible so that there's a command if something happens. Pier access gate, they were reinstalling that today. We clarified to them during the last meeting that the pier access gate itself is built into an allowance, I believe of $14,000. So how that works as far as compared to other change orders is they have to show us everything they spent for that. And then from that amount, what they don't spend, they have to return back to the town. We just clarified to them last week, since they've had to uninstall it and reinstall it a few times, that the town would not be paying for any of that. It simply was for the gate and the first install. And then lastly, the tread discrepancies, that item should be inspected next Tuesday. So from that point, we will know if that item's done or if that item's going to continue. If that item continues, we will definitely not be done January 1st. Other than that, that's all I have. From that update, does anyone have any further questions?
Zane, I think you're off the hook.
You sure? I'll run.
Thank you so much.
You're not
Thank
off
y'all.
the hook, you're just off for the day.
All right.
We have Pivot Parking next, a season recap that they sent us, and this is Jared Glass. Welcome, Jared.
Good evening, council. Do we need to turn on light? Do you see that at all? Or does it need to get fired up? Council staff, thank you for having us. We are Pivot Parking. We're going to do a quick recap of the 2023 season, kind of go through some of the things that we accomplished and the success that we had. This is the Pivot Parking Surfside Beach team. I think a lot of you guys know the names up there pretty well. I'm Jared Glass. We have Tina Reed and Aaron Long here as well. A new name you might not know on that slide is Todd Brocious. He comes to us as a president and has, I believe, over 30 years of being in the parking industry. So he provides a wealth of knowledge for us as well. I will say also, we had a tremendous team with us this season. You'll see it a little bit on in this presentation about the things we were able to accomplish, and it speaks high volumes of this team. This is some of the presentation topics we're going to go through. Like I said, 2023 program review, comparison between last year and this year with the numbers that we were able to get from last year. New parking areas, citation analysis, and some LPR data as well as some 2024 potential updates. So some changes in 2023. We provided all new signage to be more cohesive and uniform throughout the town. This was the signage that was existing before was not as clear and kind of confusing. We also provided the wayfinding at the bottom for a public safety measure. So if there was ever anything going on, folks would know exactly where they were. This year too was a big change. We took out all of the old Loop 2 pay stations and converted all areas to Text to Park and Park Mobile only. We utilized the LPR for enforcement. Along with that, we did not issue any decals this year for vehicles, as the license plate of the vehicle was the decal, and the only decals that we issued were for the golf carts. Council also passed new rules that would send outstanding citations to a collection agency, and that has been started as well. So we'll jump right into the Text to Park revenue. Text to Park did very well this year. As you can see, $263,000 in Text to Park alone. Yopon was by far the best lot for both Text to Park and Park Mobile. Just in Text to Park, you see right there, Yopon did just over $78,000. We did add the pier in there as well. It was only open for about 2.5 weeks, and it did about $1,500. These are the top 10 zip codes for Text to Park. So Text to Park came out with a new feature for us this year that really allows us to do a deep dive into some of these transactional, the information, and get us a lot more data for you guys to make the best calls. Normally, this information would take a couple of days for us to go through and actually get these numbers. Now it's a click of the mouse, and we can get all these stuff. I think now it even goes up to the top 25 zip codes, and we've provided you the top 10 there. We can also provide you the states. Here's a little trivia that we have for you. Not including South Carolina and North Carolina, which states, if any of you have a guess, which states provided the highest transaction, or what was the highest transaction state outside of the two obvious ones? If anybody has a guess. Ohio, Maryland. It's actually Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania came in at 2,600 transactions. You can see some of the other states there as well. Ohio and New York, of course, are always going to be there as well. The Park Mobile gross, so it didn't do as well as Text to Park, but still did very well, $221,000. Again, the Yopon lot was the best lot there, bringing in $59,818. I do have the transactional data for the for Park Mobile as well. I did not have it at the time that this deck was done. But it's pretty much the same as Text to Park as far as the zip codes go. The one change was the number 10 place was out of Charleston, actually. And that was not seen with Text to Park. So this is the percentage of total revenue. Text to Park made up 45%, along with Park Mobile with about 38. Citations coming in at 11, and the permits came in at just under 6. Transaction totals, Text to Park had about 48,000, with Park Mobile coming in just under that with 44.5, and a total of 92,728 transactions for the 2023 season. The average length of stay is something important to point out there. Park Mobile is almost 14 minutes longer than Text to Park. Oh, I'm sorry, Text to Park is longer than Park Mobile. And we believe that that's attributed to customers can get the text message to extend their time right from the beach. They don't need to go back in the app and extend their time. They can just click on the link that's right in the text message, and they don't even have to leave their chairs. Comparison to last year, this year we did about 587,752. Last year was about 471. These were provided to us from finance for last year. It's a 25% increase from 2022. I think it's important to point out that that was done without any rate increases, without any citation rate increases. We attribute it to more consistent enforcement and being seen. I told these guys all the time, just be seen, ride around and be seen. You'll be surprised what it can do. The revenue per space as well, 785 last year compared to 980 this year. Again, we did not add any spaces this year to my knowledge. So it's a big thing to point out there as well. The overall parking environment, Text to Park came along really nicely. As I stated, the adoption rate was up over 23% this year. As I also stated, customers are finding it easier to connect when there's thousands and thousands of people in a very small area. It slows down the networks. With Text to Park, there's no app to download, there's no app to open and go in there. You can just do it right from a text message. And so it's a lot simpler. And then the better signage allowed for the increased adoption as well. Top complaints that we saw this year, connectivity issues. Again, when you have so many people in a small area, it makes it harder to connect using an app or a phone just in general. Again, citations as well, you're always going to hear those. The top complaints with those was, how am I supposed to know? I don't live here, I'm not from here. And so we will get into that and kind of how to solve that a little bit later. And then there's not enough space. It's hard to create more space, but we have some potential solutions for that as well later on. We'll get into a little bit of the enforcement side. 2023, we wrote 2,300 tickets, with 1,900 of those being paid, with the overall collection rate of 84%. The industry average is about, I think, between 76 and 82, somewhere around in there. So we're doing well above the industry average. And that number also does not take into account citations already sent to the outside agent. Some LPR data. The LPR was installed on the Ranger pickup, and this was the first full year of use that we had. For the season, there was over 38,000 detections and more than 5,000 hits. The difference there, a detection is any plate that the LPR cameras pick up. Scanning, going through the lots, that's any plate that it reads. A hit is a plate that it reads that is on an exempt list. So anybody that bought a pass or anybody that lives here, they are on the exempt list, they park free. That's what a hit is. Detections, this is what we see on the back end as far as when the vehicle is scanned. It provides precise location and the make and model when it can. GPS coordinates, so if we needed to find that vehicle or somebody calls us saying they lost their vehicle, give us your plate number and we can probably find it for you if we've already scanned it. Some potential parking updates for 2024. We've been talking a little bit with the parking committee about this. The fixed camera on the surface lots, citation fine modification, booting of the repeat offenders and scofflaws, the parking rates, permanent golf cart stickers, and then an online resident portal as well. We're getting to the staffing and the hourly rate structures, some EV charging stations, and then some of the paint and the maintenance that we've been doing so far this off season. So considering for fixed camera enforcement, you guys can decide whether this is a good option for you, but it's a newer thing in the parking industry where 2 cameras are affixed to the ingress and the egress of a parking lot. It scans the plate when you go in, it scans the plate when it comes out. It'll cross-check that, see if that person paid. If they did not pay, or if they're not on an exempt list, they get a letter notice in the mail 3 days later, kind of similar to like a toll booth. Obviously, this would provide for reduced labor costs. You don't have the ambassadors riding around a lot. The camera does it all. Another good thing too is it is 24/7. These cameras don't move. With the vendor that we use, there is no initial cost for the cameras. There is an ongoing cost for the SaaS software, and then they take a little cut of the revenue as well. But the cameras themselves are at no cost to the town. Booting of scofflaws, I believe we have a handful of folks that just don't want to pay their tickets. So that's an option. I know in like the beach communities, it's kind of hesitant on the image that provides, but it is an option and we can help you guys do that as well.
Is that better than towing?
Well, it's kind of just dependent on what you want, really. Right, when you boot them, we can have the option of them paying it right there and then take it off themselves, and then they have to bring it back to us to get a hold, not placed on their card. Your current citation fine is $25 with an escalation to $75 on day 31. We've been talking about this with the parking committee a little bit. Modifying that to $50 with an escalation at $100 on day 31 is a consideration, with an estimated increased revenue of $35,000 annually. Comparable towns that we have, you're on the low side. North Myrtle Beach is also at 25, but they are considering a change as well for next season. Carolina Beach is 100. Wrightsville Beach is at 50, and so is Surf City. Myrtle Beach, I believe, is still at 30, but that is not under our portfolio. Some rate changes as well. You're currently at $2 an hour with an all-day max of $10 for all areas excluding the pier, with enforcement of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The first option would be to modify that to $3 an hour with a $12 all day for all parking areas excluding the pier, which is modified to $4 an hour with no daily max because it is considered premium parking. The option 2 would be to go to $4 an hour and $16 all day for all areas excluding the pier and the Yukon lot. Parking rates at those lots would be deemed $5 an hour, $25 all day, and premium parking since they provide the proximity to the downtown area. And the enforcement hours for both options would remain at 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Here's some the estimations for both of those options. The current is what we did this year. If you were to adjust any of those rates, these are some potential forecasts as to what the town would do those modifications. And these also include that the times do not change of enforcement from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Here's some analysis that we did. Total transactions were 92,195 excluding the pier, with the gross being 485 excluding the pier and excluding violations. The average paid parking purchase as calculated for the season was $5.26, with an average length of stay being 2 hours and 15 to 20 minutes. The revenue per space, excluding the pier and the violations, was about $808. These are some more projections there. With the $3 an hour to $12 all day max, the revenue potentially can be increased $190,000 to $200,000 annually. With the modification 2 being $375,000 to $395,000 annually. And that's also with a full operational season of March to October and not changing those months as well. Citation rate analysis, again, you're currently at 25, the fine increases to 75 at 30 days, and then it goes to an outside collections agency at 90 days. Some citation rates to be considered, all fines would be 50. We feel that 25 is not punitive enough. It doesn't deter bad behavior. If you can park all day illegally or not for 25 bucks, when you can't find anywhere else, people are willing to pay it. So it's not punitive enough, we believe. The fines would then increase to $100 at 30 days delinquent and still be sent to that outside agency as well at 90 days. In 2023, there were 1,500 citations paid at that $25 rate. Based on this, the estimation would be about $35,000 increased revenue for 2024 if that is changed. Like I said, the comparison to other markets is below average. The average among the current coastal operations is about $62.50, with the lowest being Surfside Beach at $25 and the highest is $100 in Carolina Beach. This is the historical transactional information. I think Councilman Krekalaw, you may have requested this. I can provide this to you, and then this is a little hard to read, but I can provide this to council as well. That just breaks it down, transaction and revenue per lot for the entire year. Some operational updates, request. The hourly rate structures for our guys, as I stated in the beginning, we had a really good team with us, but just like anybody now, we're finding it hard to recruit and retain employees. The days of paying folks $10, $11, $12 an hour are going away, and we're looking at getting closer to maybe $15 or $16 an hour just to get those quality employees. to compare a little bit, in Wilmington, the city council there put in a minimum of what we can pay the guys at $18 an hour, just to try to get some better quality employees. This next one deals with the adding more spaces. I know the current ordinances now allow homeowners to place objects in the right of way to kind of prevent parking. It's popular to say that that is my property. I can do what I want with it, but as we know, that is the right of way that is owned by the town or DOT. And so that would be a consideration to take into account if you wanted to remove that. It would provide more parking. But I know that is, it could be a hot topic. The county pass quantity and cost, we've been talking about that with the parking committee as well. This next one would take care of the, or in theory would take care of the I didn't know, I'm not from here. Require the short-term rental companies to supply the renters with the ordinances. If you give it to them, maybe they read it, maybe they don't. But at least it would show good faith by the town and us just try to get the word out and help those folks. EV charging stations, as well as the paint and the maintenance of the new curb stops. I believe I have some pictures yet. So this is what we've been doing in the off season, kind of trying to help out Public Works and John Adair over there. Repainting these curves, it really helps. We kind of got it some this year where it was difficult to write a ticket when, yes, the person should know it, but that line is so faded. It's kind of borderline. So we've been doing that a lot in the off season. There you see the pictures, kind of sprucing those up a little bit, so we can kind of keep the town more safe. At the end of the day, that's what the ordinances are for, and that's what the tickets are for. That's all I have for you. On behalf of Pivot, we would like to thank you guys for choosing us. We thoroughly enjoy being here. And we look forward to a successful 2024 season. I would like to answer any questions that you may have.
Who has questions besides me?
Mayor Person, I know you requested these. I can get you the copy of these as well, but that's the golf cart citations per lot.
Okay.
Per hour.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Crickle, I'd like to provide you with that. Again, I can get you the copy for that, but that's a better version.
How many
Thank you.
scofflaws do you think we have?
It's not many. I don't have an exact number. I can get that for you, no problem. But I would estimate to be less than 50.
You know, have any idea how many dollars we've set to collection? Potential?
With the historical data that we had, we were not able to get the historical data from the previous contractor. That file became corrupt. So we were not able to grab that. So for sending those to collections right now, we only had this year. It wasn't much, it was less than $5,000. But of course, as time goes on, that will be more.
I've got a question. On y'all's jurisdiction of looking after the town, what does that cover? Does that cover the whole town, or does that cover just the district down front? What is your jurisdiction of going out and giving citations all over town?
So it's not the whole town, and we kind of went back and forth with this at the beginning of the season. Aaron, if you could speak maybe specifically to that, but it does not include the whole town. It's the beachfront, Surfside Drive, and maybe up to Dogwood.
So y'all have clarified that going through town and other places, giving tickets out, writing tickets is not your jurisdiction of doing?
We have since done that, yes. We did do that a little in the beginning of the season. Like I said, we did go back and forth on that a couple times. But yes, as of now, we do not do the entire town, and that has been made clear to the guys.
I have a question or a comment, because I live on Cedar North, and I did see the parking guys there. and it was in the midsummer. So they have to be reminded on a continuous basis not to be going in our neighborhoods.
And I can't tell you the exact date when it was, but it was probably mid-season before that was actually finalized. Like, again, I don't have the exact date when that was, but that could have been during that time period.
Who did they have more trouble with, Park Mobile or Texas Park? Because I've heard both. People couldn't, for some reason, they couldn't work the Texas Park.
Aaron?
Sometimes it's Park
It
Mobile.
was a pretty even split, but once they do it one time and I'm able to explain it, it's pretty simple from there.
You gonna give a lessons for us people up here?
It'll just take a few seconds.
Thank you, Aaron. I think I sent you a message. We sell 150 registrations at $200. Did it all in one day. That's Aaron. Were you able to determine how often or how many times those, just car registration, you can't do the golf cart, but the cars, could you determine how many times they used it?
We can determine how many times residents and the non-county or the county folks part. The system does not break down which one is which.
Okay. Did we sell, we also allow second homeowners to purchase tickets at $40. They get two with their automatically, and they can purchase additional ones at $40.
Yes, sir.
Did we sell many of those?
So 72.
72. Okay. Those are the questions I'd ask you. How do you think it went?
I think it went very well. Very well.
We haven't done anything with it yet. I know the parking committee is looking at doing 8 to 6. And from 10 to 4, concentrate on the beach accesses. You usually have 2 people on surface in town. One could concentrate on the lot parking, street parking, and the other could concentrate on can you even check on golf carts?
Can we enforce golf carts?
Yeah,
Of course. Yeah, 100%.
because several of us have commented on, we go to the beach, there's 4, 6, 8 golf carts. They don't have stickers, but they could have paid. We don't know. We have no way of knowing. And it just seems very laborious for your people to do this.
It's actually not. So when they pay, they use the state sticker that's on all the golf carts. By state law, you have to have that. That's the number they use. So when we would come up on a golf cart access, we just get out of the vehicle and walk through the lot, typing in each one of those sticker numbers. Just like what we used to do in the past with the license plates, same idea, but in this one, since there is no plate on most of the golf carts, that's how you enforce it. And I gave you the numbers there of the citation numbers that we wrote on golf carts this year.
Okay.
You're saying that, is that counting the golf carts in the crossover areas? You know how many golf carts is parked there, how many tickets you gave now?
Yes, sir. I gave that to Councilman King.
We'll get you a copy.
Mayor Pro
Just
Tem.
got it.
Because as I've observed this year, I didn't get too much of enforcement of the crossover was done, but that's just my opinion.
Well, again, too, is when we ride by those golf cart accesses and go in the lots, we check all of them, be sure they're paid, and move on to the next one. If you see the guys coming back down, driving by those lots, if there's not any new golf carts in there, there's not any point for us to stop and check them again if we know that they're already good. So that could have been what you saw over the season, but there certainly wasn't any special preference given to the golf cart lots. I can't remember the number, but there was a good amount of citations written to golf carts this year.
But when you say a lot of citations written in golf carts, are you referring to the crossover walks? Are you referring to the parking lots?
All lots.
Well,
And
that's what I'm getting
crossovers
at.
were included in that.
You're including the crossover, but you're giving us an overall total of what you wrote tickets for or reserved and everything. You ain't broke it down, or I have not seen it yet, of what you've
It's
done in
broken down.
crosswalk.
Broke down. I'm gonna
It's
give it to everybody.
That's fine. But as I said, I hadn't seen it as of yet.
Okay, yeah, I just provided that to, but
I
I
asked
can
you for
provide
it
it.
yesterday.
Yeah, and I can send that to all of council as well.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I had a question. Since we are looking at modifying the hours, parking committee is suggesting that. I was wondering, the figures that you gave and Sherry's going to distribute to us, does it break down by hour? The
So-
lot revenue, is there a way that you can capture that so that we can know, like, for instance, if we decide to cut it off at 5 o'clock instead of 7, we can do a comparison of how much revenue we've left on the table?
I know in Texas Park that is possible. It will take a good amount of time to get that information. But we can provide that to you from Texas Park. I'm not sure about Park Mobile. That's something that I can talk to them about.
But this revenue that you gave us to Mr. Cracklow doesn't include
No,
a
sir.
breakdown.
It just breaks it down by lot. for
By
the
lot,
entirety.
but not by hour.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Those citations, that's, people who don't pay to park, that's people parking 30 feet from a corner, that's people parking too close to a driveway. That's all.
That was all inclusive, yes, sir.
So what do you think your average per day of citations are?
Oh, I think it would depend on the weather and the type of day. Aaron, maybe you can speak to
Yeah,
that.
I'd say on our busiest days, anywhere between 40 and 60. But on an average day, between 10 and 20, I'd say.
Because if you have it down, you wrote 2,364 citations for the 9-month period. And if you do it for 9 months, it's 244 days in 9 months. That averages out to 10 a day. So I don't know how I can understand in the high season, you're doing a lot more, but 10 on average, 10 a day, unless everyone's complying, or people aren't going down the beach access checking. And then there was a concern also that some of the people were leaving early. That was voiced to you. And then about a month later, same guy was leaving at 6 o'clock. How did you address that, and how are you going to address it next time?
Well, there has been some staff changes. Some guys are not coming back next year. I believe Aaron and we did speak with that particular employee. Of course, that's not acceptable. But there has been some changes made this year, at the end of this year. So that does not happen again.
Now you're saying that Texas Park is a better app. I'm getting the feeling, yes or no?
It's easier for the customers when it's busy. Park Mobile, once you download it and set up an account, then next time you park, it's two or 3 minutes. But the ease factor comes from when it's congested out, towers are busy. The app is going to take a little longer to load. With Texas Park, it's just a text. So in that sense, it is easier.
So Texas Park is probably easier. What's the difference in the price to use it?
There is a convenience fee. I think it's based on the amount that you pay. With Park Mobile, there is a flat, I think it's 40 cents per transaction, regardless of what you pay. Texas Park, I believe it's based on what the payment is. So if you pay $10 all day or $2 an hour, it's going to be a little bit more for the $10 all day. And that is a fee set by Texas Park to cover their expenses.
I'm just thinking, why 2 different apps? If they both do the same thing, actually Texas Park, you can actually add it on. So it's a better app.
You can add on with Park Mobile as
Oh, you
well.
can? Okay.
Yeah, it's just, again, going back to that congestion issue.
Okay, one more. When you use the LPRs, if the license plate is shown, it's much easier to do. Would you prefer that we make it that you have to park nose in instead of the rear end. This way they can go right through the parking lot and not waste their time getting out of the truck and having to go.
I think it would be easier, but I don't believe we ran into that too often this year. That just adds a minute or two extra for the guy to get out of the truck and check that plate or check for a decal for a golf cart. But it would make it a little easier, I guess, but I wouldn't say it's a huge issue.
Okay. Thank you.
And that, Bill,
Yes, go ahead. Bill's fine.
Bill. There was talk last year of adding plates to golf carts. Have y'all considered doing that anymore?
We have, it's always an option. What we run into with some councils is the cost is not worth it. Just depending on how many you get, the cost is significant, the upfront cost. And then you would have the option or the potential issue of folks not putting it on right, putting it on in the wrong place. And then you have the same problem of getting out of the vehicle and being sure that it's there or it's attached where it should be. But it's always an option.
Bill,
Yes, go ahead.
the question I have, you say that they're going to write tickets, check parking up to Dogwood. Does that include like repair trucks coming in and doing air condition and stuff like that? If they're parked wrong, do they get tickets also?
They would. I think we had the problem with I think you guys call it the mow, blow, and go guys. If they're going to be there for 15 or 20 minutes, we're not going to give them a problem. But if they're parking there all day causing a hazard, that's one thing.
Is there another way to tag a golf cart besides the license? What I'm thinking about is you can tag your luggage. You can find where it is. Is there any, I mean, I know you don't have the answer, but I'm just wondering if you've looked at anything else other than a license plate that you put on a golf cart, you can immediately tell where it is and whether they paid or not.
I'm not aware of, I'm not sure that there's any other options as far as
Okay.
a permanent license plate or just a decal. I think that tends to work best.
Okay. Well, you had a good year.
It was a great year. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so, I mean, the results are in dollars. We see that. Thank you very much. Anybody else have a question? Jared, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Councilman.
the information and the good work.
Mm.
You need to give Aaron a raise.
Just come out of your pocket.
Yeah, it does hurt. All right, now we get into our business for the night. The first one is going to be the second reading of ordinance 23-0962, which is to adopt the comprehensive plan. I need a motion, then we can discuss it.
Mr. Pro Tem Mayor.
Bill.
Bill, hey.
Bill, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt 23-0962 ordinance for the 23 to 33 comprehensive plan.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? We did get a message today that the gentleman that presented this, can't find his name right now, is lost his voice and will not be here. So I don't think there was any major changes that we asked for other than to go back to E-District instead of Pier Village, which I think they have done. Any other?
And Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I had talked to Jake this afternoon and this morning, and I also went through, since I wasn't here last meeting, I went through the video just to see what those changes were. So he has incorporated those changes into the revised plan that you have.
And
So this one that you gave us tonight is clean.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
And on top of that, everyone, that is a working document. We can change it at any time, so.
It can be
Once
changed at
it's,
any time.
once it's adopted, once we adopt it, it can be changed.
But it is something we have to refer to and work on. We can't just put it in the desk and forget about it. We need to get it out and look at it. Any other comments? Sherry?
Ms. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Kinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Kreckler,
Yes.
Mr. Stamey,
Yes.
Mr. Walls.
Yes.
Next item on is B, pier cameras. Director Adair.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council and citizens. As you know, we
Likes to turn that podium.
I'll leave it the way it is. We brought this to the council at the last meeting with the proposal to add cameras at the pier. The quote at the time we had from HTC for the cameras, which was 20 in total. That's 19 cameras plus the streaming camera, was about $26,925. We met with Councilmember Coleman last week, and we sat down with the schematic, and I've updated after our meeting. I've updated that schematic that I gave you all to show some deletions. If you want to take a quick look, they're pretty easy to see. We reduced the lower level by one camera facing the beach access, and we reduced the upper level by 5 cameras, but we added one for a net of loss of 4. So if you look at the schematic that I'm just giving you, you'll see there's on the lower level, there's one that faces the beach access that we've deleted based on our conversation. Now I should tell you that the existing cameras, which I just found out today, that the police have by the shower aren't working right now and they have to be repaired.
There's two.
We could skip putting those back if we left that camera in. It's one or the other. You know what I'm saying?
What's the cost difference?
Well, we'd have to add a regular camera back into this package and get another quote for a few $100s more. Or we could just replace the cameras that are over there on the pole. So either way, but in any event, the cameras on the second level, the long range camera over the parking lot was deleted. The 2 cameras in front of the entrance to the A and B tenants were deleted, and one was added on the corner facing in. You can see it on your schematic, which would cover that area. And then the short range camera at the end of building C was deleted as well. So I was asked to provide 2 proposals, which you were emailed. I hope you have them. The one proposal is for 15 total cameras, including the streaming camera, for $24,107.05. Or if the council decides that you would not like the streaming camera, that's $19,786.09. And that's where we are right now after our meeting with Mr. Coleman. And that meeting, the police chief, myself, and the administrator took part in that, and we all pretty much have the same mind. So,
John, did I understand that these will be able to be monitored in the police department?
Yes, we also did find that out. I'm glad you brought that up. That was one of the first things I found out after the last meeting was, yes, this can be incorporated into that same monitored system.
Okay.
And no additional.
No additional, this is what it's gonna cost.
Okay.
It's just
Any other questions?
Do we have to suspend the rules to ask questions of them?
You can speak 2 times per subject.
You get to
So if you
speak
want to make a
twice.
motion to relax Robert's rules, you can do that.
If you want to do that, you can make a motion.
I just asked a question. So we eliminated anywhere from 5 to 6 cameras,
Right.
and the price went up.
No, it was 26,000 before,
26,000.
and it's 24,000 now if we leave the streaming camera in. So it's about 2818 less than the last one. With 5 less cameras.
But we still have to put it out for bid for the
The conduit,
installation.
right, the conduit work has to be done by an electrical contractor. HTC doesn't do that work.
Okay.
So once that's bid out and installed, then they'll come in, they'll order the stuff now. And then once all that's put in, they'll pull all their wire and attach the cameras where they have to go.
So the wire is in here, it's the conduit that's not in here.
Yes, the conduit is not in here. That's a $30-some-odd thousand cost, which has to be bid out since it's above our threshold.
Okay.
So,
Mayor Pro Tem, I have one question. So it's about $6,000 to add the streaming camera?
It was about $4,300 just for that one unit.
Is it because of where it's gonna be that it's gonna, I mean, why does that one cost so much?
Well, there was some associated, tilt pan zoom functionality and there was it's wireless beaming from the end of the pier, towards the main base on the building. And so without all that on there, it was in one of the emails that I sent out. And, it was about $4,300 some odd was the difference for that one.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Mr. Adair,
Yes, sir.
I have, the last proposal you sent us, gave us from 8/31/2023, and it says 23,489.
No, sir, that was an earlier one. The one before this was the December 1st proposal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a little higher because the cost had gone up after November or October, whenever that one was from. So, if we keep the streaming camera, it's 5 less cameras for 2818 less. If we do not keep the streaming camera, it's 19,786, which is 7138 less than the old quote. So we'll proceed however council would like.
Bill? I have a question.
Yes.
Yes.
Try.
I'm sorry, I keep saying Bill.
That's okay.
Um,
That's my name.
The question I have, you talk about the cameras at the showers are broken.
Right.
Right. But wouldn't it be more cost efficient to fix them than to add them into the addition into this group?
Well, the technical, Chief Hoffman was explaining it to me today. I believe the cameras are all right, but the wiring has to be redone.
Okay.
I think when they put in all the Grand Strand stuff for the pier that went in along that side of the parking lot, their wire is broken somewhere, so it has to be reran. But he had plans to relocate those cameras to Third North to replace existing equipment and buy new for the pier for that pole. There's 2 cameras on there. So the expense can be there or the expense can be added back into this one. It really, I don't know what the preference is. That's the pier fund versus hospitality pays for, essentially.
If that's where this money is coming from, pier fund?
This would be, yeah.
After 6 years, we still have money in the pier fund?
Well, we have money budgeted this year for the upfit of the pier, yeah.
Any other questions?
No, that's yours. Come on.
I think we need a motion.
You do.
Yes, you do.
We do.
You need a motion for one of these. If you want to,
I got one more question.
there's more.
Now you have 2 cameras on the end of the pier looking towards the beach.
The ones that are on the police pole?
No, we're talking about at the end of the pier,
Okay.
you have 2 cameras, right?
Yeah, the one would be the streaming and one just is a long-range camera to cover the whole pier.
And this live streaming one isn't long distance or is it?
It's the tilt pan zoom, so we could set it up however we want, to go back and forth, to zoom in and out, and to pan around, to see people to see both sides of the beach, as well as the pier on a live feed.
Or could you use that instead of having a long distance camera that's stationary? You have a camera from the end of the pier and it can pan, but you're still gonna see most of what's on the pier.
Yeah, the way it was explained to me is that it's a different focal point, that the long range camera will not be focused in on the same, that's why the second one was necessary.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
I think we need to make a motion to bring this to topic. So I'm gonna bring a motion up for the cameras on the pier. We can make a choice of which one we want after we make the motion of doing it. So I made the motion to bring the cameras.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I will second that motion.
All right. I'm gonna have the first question or
Now we
comment.
can ask questions.
Yeah, now
I feel like there is a cost, but I think the cost to have the pan zoom camera at the end will benefit Surfside from a sale point. People can see what's here. And I would think in talking with Phil Vassar, he feels like his camera did a lot for his business, a lot more than what he paid for the camera. And I think this would do the same thing. So I'm in favor of going ahead and putting the larger package, because I feel like that we will benefit that long-term, having that camera looking across our beach. People can see what the beach looks like, because we got a beautiful beach. People need to see that.
Yes, and that was a marketing idea that was brought up by the pier committee at the time when we were touring the pier.
Yeah.
How it could be on our website, a live stream, and it would show not only the condition of the beach, it could show the whole pier and the grandeur of it, if you will.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have questions or comments? Hearing none, we ready to vote? Wait a minute, we need to decide which one.
But you want to decide which package you want to go with.
Back.
This motion's going to be made on the 24th. We have to make a motion on each one, then vote on each one.
Just make
No, package. We want to make a motion on one and
We can amend the motion.
Then we'll have to go to the other one, but then.
Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna make a motion that we pay the $24,000 to get the pan zoom camera at the end with the zoom for streaming for outsource. I'm gonna go with the large package.
I would second the motion for the larger package.
Thank you.
That includes the Zoom camera.
Any other comments? Sherry?
Ms. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Kinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
No,
Mr. Krecklow,
yes.
Mr. Stamey,
Yes.
Mr. Walls.
Yes.
That passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
So you got a direction, John?
Finally.
All right, our last business item is APAC's committee appointment.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Mr. Melser to the Apex committee.
Second.
Any comments, questions? Sherry?
Ms. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Kinkin,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
yes,
Mr. Krecklow,
Yes.
Mr. Stamey.
Yes.
Mr. Walls.
Yes.
All right. Next on the agenda is public comments. Has to do with town services. It's a little looser than the original first one where it's only on the agenda. If you've got something you'd like to get off your chest, please enlighten yourself. Seeing none, we'll go to town council discussion. I'm going to start with Mr. Stamey.
Let me start out by saying thanks. Merry Christmas to every one of you. We won't be seeing you no more on the council meeting before the next year, so Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you that's listening and all that's here. I'd really like to reach out to our staff and all the people who work for the town of Surfside. I'd like to say thank you and Merry Christmas to y'all. I will be seeing y'all again, Thursday evening. So to everyone else, thanks for coming and have a safe and happy holidays.
Mr. Coleman?
Just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Just want to explain why I didn't vote for the Panic camera. There's a camera already on the hotel. There's also, I believe, a camera on River City Cafe. They're both looking at the exact same thing. People use them, yes. I'm just tired of us just having a blank check, we just keep signing money away. I'm all for the cameras, but we started with 57, went down to 20. And then I met with Mr. Adair, Chief Hoffman, and Administrator, and we brought it down another 5 cameras. So I'm looking to save money. Redundancy of technology, not anything. So I just want to explain that. Not that I don't want us to see, we don't need 3 different views. And again, everyone get home safe. Have a good time with your family on the holidays. Thank you.
I'd just like to say, thanks to everybody that came out and everybody's tuning in. And I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Thank you.
I'd just like to tell everyone, same thing, Merry Christmas and see you after the New Year. See you then. Good night.
Sean?
I'd like to thank Harry for meeting up with John Adair and the town administrator, Jerry, because I know this diagram really helped me out. There was a lot of work that went in this, and to simplify it, so I could understand how many cameras. I personally don't like how we're spending money. I did vote for it because I didn't think the cost was that much difference. But we got to be very careful in 2024 how we're spending our money. With that said, Merry Christmas to everybody, and be safe and be kind. Thank you.
Excuse me. I want to wish everybody Merry Christmas. I hope you participated in the parade. It was a great parade. The tree lighting, we had about 500 people there at any one time, and people came and went because after the 4th grade sang, a lot of people left, and then another bunch came in. So it was a good evening. We have other things coming up. I know there's breakfast with Santa Claus. And I'll be honest, I didn't bring my notes, so I don't know what day it is. It's Thursday or Saturday? Anybody know?
Saturday.
Saturday, okay. And then at 2:00, there's the golf cart parade. And that's this Saturday. And then there will be the trolley rides. And again, I don't have my notes, so I didn't. There's a couple days before Christmas and on the 26th. So get out. Town's well decorated, so get out and enjoy it. We have a beautiful town. I want to thank everybody that showed up, that came here. We had a good turnout. I hope there are a lot of people listening in. And just wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and thank you for being here. And with that, I need a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Mayor, or Mr. Pro Tem Mayor.
Yeah, whatever.
Bill?
I'd like to make a motion for go into executive session under section 30-4-70 to discuss and negotiate contractual agreements.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
With that, we're going into executive session. You're welcome to stay. I hope it won't last long.